This is the EVP Podcast.
Welcome to the EVP Podcast. It's me, Ghosty McGhostface.
I'm Beaker.
And I'm DVO.
What was that?
I don't know. I'm maybe clearing
It
my
was
evil
spooky.
throat out.
Spooky. Or
Well,
as we said on Bacon Cell last week when I was on there, spoopy.
Hmm?
Yeah, spoopy.
Way
Someone
to
said spoopy. It caught on.
oh,
Things were spoopy.
sounds spoopy.
Instead of spooky, it was spoopy.
Well, hey, welcome back to another episode, everybody. And today's episode will be about ghosts.
What? Ghosts?
Ghosts.
Huh?
Weird.
Wait, a paranormal podcast and we're talking about ghosts?
Ghosts.
About goddamn time.
I know. We're going to talk about...
I don't wait that we were
Spirits.
like not even a minute into this and I started swearing.
Easy there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Easy there, spoopy pants.
Yeah, you and your spooks.
Spoopy.
Well, I think today's episode will continue on with the Halloween stuff and
Okay.
just talk about like what ghosts are and what people believe they are, different kinds of spirits that are known of, or just things like that.
Did you know?
Tell me more.
We had comments on our last episode
Oh,
on Facebook and on the YouTube.
let's go on about those before we talk about spooks.
For those of you that don't already know or don't follow us, you can find us on the social medias at evp.pod on both Instagram and Facebook. You can find our YouTube channel at EVP Podcast. So we had Chris on Facebook said, I absolutely loved Salem when I visited there a few years ago, and I love how they embraced the witch and incorporated the emblem on the police cars and such.
Oh, they have witch emblems on cars, on the police cars
I
there?
believe so.
I don't know if it's like a seasonal thing. That's kind of cool.
It might be. I know there's a
So
couple people that hit me up too, said that they're planning trips next year for Salem during Halloween time as well.
Okay.
So
maybe we'll
cops
see
are
them.
witches out there, huh?
Yes. They're all witches. And then Chris on YouTube, I don't know if we missed this or not. We probably talked about it, or maybe we didn't. I don't know. I haven't gone back and listened to it. But he wanted to know if there was any sort of like reparations paid to anybody. Was this question on YouTube?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Just in case, I'm pretty sure we covered it, but just in case we didn't. Yeah, it was about 20 years later. It was in 1711. They paid the reparations to the family members or the heirs of the people that were, I believe, both accused and executed.
Yeah.
Do you know the amounts?
I didn't see anything that
10
said.
stones.
Yes. They were given
A cow.
15 marijuanas. But yeah, thanks again for listening and commenting on the
Yeah,
social
very
medias
cool.
and that. If you're not already following us, go follow us. Subscribe to, if you're on Spotify, subscribe. YouTube, subscribe. Follow.
Do
the
it
things.
now.
Do this stuff.
Smash that subscribe button.
Yeah, smash it. Hulk, smash that button.
Any other comments?
No, that was it.
That was it?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
I've got a comment.
Okay, tell me.
Those guys on the EVP podcast are so handsome. My goodness.
Which ones are you talking about?
All three.
Nice.
They are a delight.
Thanks for the comment, DVO. Keep them coming.
Wait, is that who that was?
It was.
Oh, I didn't see that one. Write it down next time.
Okay, sorry.
All right. So when it comes to ghosts,
Spooks.
Should we interrupt you more about other stuff?
is there more
No,
stuff?
no, there's not.
Oh, I was hoping there was at least one thing.
Well, we did energy work.
Yes, we did.
We did.
We tag
Yeah, we did. It was beautiful. And then you stayed somewhere spoopy.
Yes, then I went to a spooky hotel too.
Yes, we can talk about that later. No?
Yes,
Whatever.
we'll talk
Yes.
about. Yeah.
You're running the show. Do it.
All right. So I was going to ask you guys. I probably already did, but I'll do it again.
No, I will
What
not
I-
make out with you.
Well, okay, I'll ask you again.
Oh, all right.
When it comes to ghosts and spirits, how many different kinds do you guys think there are?
No, because right away, when you brought this topic up, I just right away was thinking, oh, they're just people that are dead, right? Like that. That's it. And then maybe some bad ones. So that's all that came to my mind initially. There's like those two things.
No, there's so many.
Yeah, there's different kinds. There's categories. There's all sorts of spirits.
That's why I asked if there was a certain kind you wanted to focus on.
No.
You're like, everything. I'm like, okay.
Yes, just talk about like different kinds that there are, what they're doing here, and what we can do to stop them. Just kidding. But
Salt. Duh.
garlic.
Oh yeah, garlic.
Wooden
Garlic
sticks.
salt.
Garlic salt. Duh, that's why it's been made.
And
But anyways,
silver.
like National Geographic had spirits listed into a few different categories. But this category of ghosts kind of encompasses one kind of spirit. It seems like, but they took this one category of spirit and then branched it off into three.
I do find it interesting that Nat Geo has this on their website.
I do love the fact that he's using Post-it notes for his notes.
Call me old fashioned.
You want me to buy you a notebook? I'll give you one of those little flip, like Blue's Clues, like
I want
with
you
the
to
big
see
couch on it.
All the different devices I have, I can use electronics for.
You know, we all have
at
something.
night.
There's like 3 iPads on the table. There's a laptop. We've all got our phones out, and you're using Post-it notes.
Because you know
love it.
why? Because I don't ever want to grow up. That's why.
At least you have notes.
So
You were more
National-
prepared than I normally am.
National Geographic says there's a trauma. There's trauma spirits. Those are the ones that don't know they're dead. They're the ones that something just barely happened. You know.
Car accident.
Yeah. So and then there's the echo, residual. That's more of like your residual where they don't even know you're there.
Really? Residual is like your residual?
It's like you're not. They don't know you're there.
Yeah.
So doing the
They
same thing
don't.
over and over again.
Residual is like a song on repeat. Is the best way I know how to describe it.
Yeah.
It's just doing the same thing over and over again, and it's
Yeah.
not aware of anything that's going on around it.
And then they have this one called Crisis. It's the ones that appear shortly after they just died, and they're showing up to family members to kind of maybe give them messages or show that they're okay, that that they're passing on. They call those ones Crisis.
Okay.
That one scares me the most.
Why?
Like as a live person, there's something's gonna happen to you. You're like panicking. Like, okay, am I dead? Did I just die? I need to go visit my family. I got to find out my family. I don't know. That kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies for some reason. The thought of it.
That scares you.
Mm-hmm.
There's worse stuff out there.
No, that's not.
Are you sure?
Yeah. You think Wendigo's scary? Psh, Squatch would smash him.
They're the
on
only
that
ones
again?
keeping us safe from Wendigo.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, now what say you about spirits? How many do you think there are?
Wait, so you just think there's 3 then?
No, I'm saying that Geo.
But you're asking like that. You're done. Like, so you think that's about it?
Well, I'm just saying from Nat Geo's standpoint, they
Okay.
only have these few here.
I mean, I can go off this website. I'm looking. Most websites had like a list of like maybe 5 to 10.
But I know we know of multiple others. Talk about another website that you. What do they say? Who are they first? Tell me who they are.
Who are they? It's OC website. I looked at a couple different websites.
They're good for lying.
Wikipedia was good for nothing. This is hauntedOC.com. They have listed, they've got the residual haunting, they've got poltergeist, they've got demonic hauntings or demonic activity, they have intelligent hauntings, and then they have, I believe the last one they have, or the shadow people or shadow creatures, and then the last one they have listed is portal hauntings.
Portal hauntings,
Yes.
Like it's just spirits jumping through portals.
but those are just a certain type of spirit, really. Well, there's maybe.
I think it's just portals in general is what they're.
Yeah.
I think they're just the existence of portals. I think they're just considering that a type of haunt.
Oh, okay.
Just the fact that there's portals out there, but there's so much more.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can get into it. There's elementals, all 4 kinds: the earth, fire, wind, air.
But you could just say elementals.
Elementals. You've got your pixies, your sprites, brownies. You've got inhuman entities. They're not necessarily
Wait, those are
demonic.
spirits.
Yes.
Like those are.
Yep. If you believe in that stuff, but yes.
Okay.
So elementals, then these are all considered non-human entities. So when you hear,
Oh, I see. Okay.
so when you say non-human entity, it's not necessarily demonic, because elementals are a thing. I've come across several of them during investigations. I've actually recently, during a house cleansing, I came across a sprite, I believe. But yes, these are all types of spirits.
What does that mean? You came across a sprite.
It's made by Coca-Cola, and the homeowner
Delicious.
gave it to me. It was delicious.
Lemon lime.
A Sprite is
A little bit of
kind
lime,
of like
a little bit of lemon.
a little lime, a little lime. It's fizzy, and it goes pop when you crack the top. It's more or less like a pixie, but more on the mischievous side.
Sharper teeth.
Not yeah, sure. I don't know. I don't know what they look like. They're not malevolent. They're more like kind of trickster spirits. They just like causing mayhem. They just like to mess around.
You saw it pop. You saw it, or what?
I felt the energy, and it was just kind of like that's what came to me. That's the type of spirit that it was.
Okay.
No, I'd like to class spirits into like human spirits that have crossed over. Those ones are just they've gone into the light. I like to just make it easy.
Yeah.
So there's those ones that have
Where does
crossed
the light
over.
go?
The light goes into the spirit world.
It goes to the other side. We don't know.
The dimension that we will go to eventually and have been in before.
Unfortunately, you as a living person or a living spirit, I guess we're living spirits. We're not really living people. We don't have the capability of going over to the other side. We don't know what's over through the light. We just know it's the next step in the process.
Okay.
But yeah, there's crossover spirits. Like you said, there's earthbound spirits.
Yeah, there's spirits that are stuck here that either have gone through a traumatic experience and don't know they're dead, or they died, they know they're dead, but they didn't cross over. And
that's part that gives me the heebie-jeebies.
And those ones are the ones that are kind of like stuck here and haunting places. Those are the ones that you'll find like.
And haunting doesn't mean negative,
right? They're just there. Your spirits are like that are known. Those are the ones that are known that they're there. On top of those
are you're more like an intelligent haunt.
Right. Those are the ones that you're going to have like more of an intelligent. When you go ghost hunting, those are the ones you're going to be talking to, as well as the other spirits, which are the ones that are non-human. Those ones are the ones that are more of the bad stuff that.
Well, again, not all inhuman entities or inhuman spirits are bad, because it's like with everything. There's always good and bad to everything. So, like elementals can be good; they can also be bad. Same with, when you come into when you're talking about like specifically like demonic entities, yes, those are all bad.
And demonic, I don't know if I would even say anything's demonic, just because to me, I don't believe in hell.
Is the definition of demon the definition from hell?
Well, that's because only somebody who believed in hell is the one that decided to call them that. These things have been around before people thought of hell being a thing.
I know, but you said my question.
Well, they're not necessarily from hell either. Some cultures or some religions believe that they're just fallen angels. They're not necessarily from hell. They were once. If you go into Mormonism, that's 1/3 of the host of heaven didn't follow Christ's plan. They followed Lucifer, and so they've never had physical bodies. They're inhuman spirits, but they're more of the demonic kind. So they're not necessarily from hell. Depending on the religion that you're talking about, they're more fallen angels.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with the name demon.
Oh well, I think it gets overused.
It does. I know in certain theologies, it's believed that only 72 demons are in existence. So it's very rare that you come across one of these.
Exactly. And then it seems like people come across the exact same ones over and over again, and
Zozo's not a thing. Just throwing that out there. I've had someone recently ask me about Zozo, which is supposedly the most powerful demon or whatever. It's not a thing. That's a human
Legion,
construct.
Yeah, you can hear Legion. It's just somebody heard it and just keeps it going. But those ones are the main ones that I think of when I think about spirits. Is those earthbound ones that haven't crossed over because of whatever reason. The ones that have crossed over, besides the non-human ones, shadow people.
Yeah, you hear a lot about shadow people.
Yeah, I've seen some shadow people. Good people. Just kidding.
Good people. They bring me presents.
They bring their presents.
In form of brown nuggets in my pants.
Remember I shared that story where I thought a shadow person stuck their head out of my closet and looked at me.
Oh, yeah.
With my baby on my chest.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, me too.
And I go yell at them, say, "Don't you do that. Go on, get.
Go on,
get on out of here.
Get on out of here. Your kind don't belong here."
Go on, get.
So what do you think shadow people are?
People that are shadows.
So that one, I'm not
Wouldn't they
positive.
also okay? 'Cause
That-
I'm just thinking, wouldn't they be the ones that are just didn't maybe possibly cross
So
over? Or they're just their own thing.
I have no idea what shadow people are besides just being shadow people. If they've ever had a body, or if they even communicate. I don't even know if shadow people communicate, or if they even do any type of haunting per se, like move anything, do anything, because they just seem to like,
Be creepers.
yeah, they're just like super creepy.
Okay, so real quick, according to the hauntedoc.com, shadow peoples or shadow creatures, this type of haunting activity that has no real explanation. They are different from ghosts. They are usually shapeless, dark masses, mostly seen within your peripheral vision. They are known to do things that are different from ghosts. They can move between walls. They have no human features, and they wear no clothes, except for the man/hooded figure, shadow creatures. And the most popular one that people seem to see is usually like you hear about this a lot, like a tall man wearing like a black like brimmed hat.
And
Hat man.
I've never heard about that until you had mentioned it before, but till then I've never heard of anybody talking about that. And all the shadow people I've seen just look like an actual dark figure, and they're not. It's not like casted against the wall or anything either. It's just
Yeah, they usually stand forward a little bit.
yeah. It's like they're there, but completely one dimensional, like maybe 2-dimensional. I don't know. It's because you can see through them, but they're dark. Like when you see the it's so weird. But they're not like casted against the wall. They're actually standing there.
Now, it's said that people that encounter shadow people usually have a feeling of dread.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
because you saw something that's
It would be pretty creepy if you're like looking in the dark and you see like the shadows start moving and there should be there's no explanation for it. Yeah, I'd probably be a little freaked out too. Apparently, clairvoyants that encounter shadow people say they do not feel that they are human and consider them non-human. They have no discernible mouth, noses, or facial expressions.
no nothing. It's just black.
Some are seen as child-sized dark humanoids. Some people say they seem
Okay.
to be made up of dark smoke or dark steam. At times when they move, they appear to be moving on an invisible track from one place to another, such as a toy train or a small-scale railroad track. They have been seen to hop on or what appears to be a strange dance. They have been seen to hop or what appears to be. That's a weird way of writing that. They hop around or they dance. Weirdly, apparently.
I never heard of that.
They are also
Never heard
known to
that.
stare at the floor. This is all so weird.
Maybe this is just one person's encounter. That
Probably.
they're just like they're known to do this.
Yeah,
they're well
the
known
dancing,
to be dancing.
the dancing, hopping, moving around on the railroad track.
Never heard of this
I've
shit.
never heard of any of this.
Yeah.
Me neither.
But like I said, one of the common ones is the Hat Man.
This more sounds like somebody's like dizzy spell. Like they were
Probably.
having like maybe a bad reaction to some cold meds.
Yeah, and then the hooded figure is the other one.
Yeah, I could see a hooded figure not really being a shadow person, but maybe something other kind of spirit.
That's what this one website says. But yeah, a shadow person is more or less just that. It's a person that looks like a shadow, and I've seen stuff like that. I think I might have mentioned it on one of the episodes where I was sitting in my car. I just got home from work, and in my rearview mirror, I see a shadow of a person walking behind my brother's truck, but I never see him come out the other side.
because he went under your car.
Yes,
And he stayed there.
tickled me. No, it was just weird because like it was. I mean, they were kind of tallish, and I literally saw this shadow walking behind my brother's truck, and then it just vanished. And I even like
Interesting.
I even opened my door and looked out, waiting to see someone walk out the other side of the truck, and no one.
Did you call out, "Where are you?
No,
Show yourself."
nope, I was good. I just went inside, called it a night.
So, have you guys heard about this experiment saying that spirits or people's spirit weighed 21 grams?
What?
Is it
6 ounces?
21 gram
21 grams.
experience?
Yes, I have heard of this.
Yeah,
6 ounces. Your math sucks.
I read that on a different website. 6 ounces.
21 grams isn't even a full ounce.
Because like people get lighter when they die. That's why they get that.
Yeah.
number
So
from.
he did. It was Duncan McDougal. He did an experiment.
Oh, Duncan McDougal.
Duncan McDougal. So he would weigh people. He was doing this experiment as they were dying. And after death, they ended up, like, he did it multiple experiments. And everyone seemed to be lighter by 21 grams. That was kind of like the average.
What's that equivalent to?
Just under an ounce.
Like if I had like some, I'm just wondering if there's something
Just an ounce
physical
of something.
item.
Yeah, I don't have anything. But anyways, so 1 ounce. Maybe think of a sinker for a fishing sinker. A lead ball about yay big.
Okay.
That's an ounce.
1 fluid ounce.
So everybody seemed to be losing 21 ounces after death. So he had this idea. His hypothesis was that the spirit weighed 21 grams. So he tried to do this experiment with other things like a dog, and the dogs weren't losing that 21 grams. After a while, years and years later, somebody finally debunked this as sweat evaporation. And it was the sweat that people would, the moisture in their skin that would evaporate. Where dogs don't have that. Their sweat glands are in their paws, and so they don't sweat all that out when they die. But us, as humans, we will release moisture. So that was debunked.
That's interesting.
And then, in this research, I found out there was a...
So everybody at the exact moment of death sweats out 21 grams.
That was about average for everybody, I guess, skin mass wise. In your skin mass, releasing moisture is about average 21 grams per person in 1907.
Okay.
I think people were about average size back then. Everyone stayed about the same size.
That just seems weird that, like, at the exact moment of death, everyone about averages, like,
Not
21.
the exact. I would say, I'm sure they gave it a little bit of time and then weighed them again, 21 grams.
That makes sense, but yeah, everyone's just like, oh, we've all just evaporated sweat.
But it's not like,
while we're dead.
and they're dead. 21 grams, it's gone. Wow. No, I'm sure they weighed them as they were alive. Then soon after they departed, they weighed their bodies again. 21 grams.
So while they're dead and cold, they sweated 21 grams of water that evaporated
Yeah, evaporated, yeah.
while they're dead. Okay.
Yeah, why not?
That doesn't make sense, but
Well, evaporation happens. Moisture, we have moisture in us.
we do.
Moisture. But yeah, science, man.
Science. It sounds like some sketchy science.
Speaking of science, though, there was another lady named Carrie Poppy, whose video I came up with. She was doing this lecture where she was talking about how she was living in a haunted house and was getting all these things were happening to her. She couldn't explain it. So she said she contacted some paranormal investigators. But these paranormal investigators were of the debunking kind. They were like, no, we don't believe in, they were all about disproving spirits. They went in and were saying how they told her it was carbon monoxide. And she found out she had carbon monoxide poisoning going on in her house and everything. And then the more she looked into things, she was saying a lot of people's situations that they were having, there was carbon monoxide happening in a lot of these people's problems. And that some of the symptoms to carbon monoxide poisoning is a lot of the stuff happening with like feeling dread and maybe even hallucinating and all these things. So I don't know. It was a kind of interesting finding out about this. I myself believe in spirits.
I sure hope so.
And the things that I've experienced have been really cool. But like some of the things that they probably went and tried to debunk, just were most likely, different situations where, I mean, there's times, I don't know, it's strange that some of the things that they're finding scientifically, where I know there's things that just can't be explained by science, where they even say themselves, like there's some EMF meters that they can't explain. Science can't explain how they're manipulated, where they can take it apart, know how it works, but not know exactly how something's able to get it to manipulate.
And from a scientific standpoint, ghosts aren't real. They've
Exactly.
tried doing studies to prove or disprove the existence of spirits, and the problem with that is part of the scientific process is you have to have a control, and it's
Right.
almost impossible to have any sort of control when it comes to talking to a spirit, because spirits, for the most part, the ones that we encounter are people, and people still have the same feelings, thoughts, and emotions they had when they were alive. And if they don't want to do something, they're not going to do it.
So there's another person who I found. He's the world's only full-time science-based paranormal investigator. His name is Joe Nickel, and he's got 50 years of experience. And he said there's not been one situation or haunting he's been to that ended up actually being a haunting that wasn't able to be proven by science. And I would like to know more about.
Any cases of his?
No, he just talked about how he's been on, like over 50 something cases and been able to disprove everything with science.
In 50 years, he's been on 50 cases, so he does one a year.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I don't know. He's been on hundreds of cases.
Okay.
Sorry. 50 years. I'm not.
I was like, if he's only been on 50 cases, I've got more under my belt than that.
No, he's had 50 years with hundreds of cases. I don't know exactly how many, but yeah, I would like to find out more about this guy and all the stuff that he's found and all the things he's done. But he talks a lot about like how easily things are usually disproved by just the things that he already knows of already, and just goes straight to those things right off the bat and just kind of disproves things. Where that other lady who I talked about, where she had that experience, she kind of does that now too, where she goes on paranormal investigations to try to either hope to find some kind of spirits to try to prove that they are real, or help the people in their home that could possibly almost die from carbon monoxide poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
I want to look into this guy a little bit more because I want to see how he explains EVPs.
Right. That was what I was thinking, the same thing too. Like, how would you explain EVPs on top of that, where they're in a controlled area and they're just hitting record, and then when they play it back and there's voices there, like, how do you explain that?
Like, there's one I remember very clearly when I first started investigating. We were at a building in downtown Salt Lake, and the owner of the previous team that we were on was going around the room and introducing themselves to the spirit. The spirit's name was Gracie. And when he got done introducing everybody, you clearly, so on these investigations, no one was under the age of 18. Okay. So you're going around and introducing all these adults to this child spirit. And when you hear after he's done introducing everybody, like a girl that sounded maybe 5 or 6 years old saying hi afterwards, I'd like to hear how he explains that when there's no one under the age of 18.
Oh yeah. So this is his whole approach too, is he does not debunk and he does not promote. He explains. So this is his whole approach to his paranormal investigations that he does. Is he says, I do not debunk and I do not promote hauntings. I only explain.
Okay.
And so yeah, I would like to see more of how he explains things, how he explains certain things.
I would like to see this as well, because technically, like, if you're explaining why something is not paranormal, that's pretty much the definition of
debunking, right? But I think
I explain why it's not a ghost. That's debunking, dude.
Well, the thing that they talk about too is they also, like, both this lady and him both say, like, if you experience something, you experience that. I'm not going to take that away from you. Just that they're trying to figure out exactly if they can actually pinpoint exactly what that is, and if they can't pinpoint what it is, then it's got to be paranormal. But they said in every case so far, they've been able to pinpoint all their things.
You know what's interesting is on the flip side of all that, you have the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine Warren. We've talked about them several times on the show. They also went in and tried to debunk things. They didn't just go in assuming everything was paranormal.
Right. That's what everyone should do as a paranormal investigator, is try to figure out what it is besides a haunting first. Like, what things could actually be causing the situations in their homes.
I mean, they have like thousands of cases that they've worked on. And I guarantee you, like they show it in The Conjuring too. Like I know this is in some of the books that have been written about them, but they do go and they explain, like in the movie, they explain to the one homeowner about pipe settling or like the floorboards or the wood settling when it starts to cool down and stuff like that. So it's not like everybody. I mean, if you've got a paranormal investigator that comes in and to your home or wherever and doesn't try to do any type of like rational thinking as to why this activity is happening, if they just go straight to, yeah, you got a demon,
It's a ghost.
it's a ghost, then you maybe want to call somebody else.
Right.
Yeah, like you said, everyone should be trying to debunk or
Right. Whenever somebody
try to
tells
rationally
me
explain things.
things that are going on in their home and like all the situations, like, yeah, then we kind of walk around in those areas and like look for what could be doing that, other than spirits, but then if we can't figure it out, then we do some more looking into it at that point and more investigating.
Yes.
Spirits.
Dead silence.
Scary.
So
Spoopy.
what say you over there, DVO? About ghosts? Like, how many do you...
So like I said, first thing I thought of was just dead people, and then probably something evil, something bad spirits. I mean, I still lean towards that for the most part, but
From a science standpoint,
I mean, I try to come into investigations also trying to debunk everything. 'Cause I hate any type of radical, whether they just go in like, I'm going to debunk everything because this is not real, and they have no open mind. But then I hate also the same people that are just like,
Everything's demonic.
Any bump is that was a spirit that was trying to knock, trying to communicate with us. So I hate any type of radical. Yeah, because they're just you won't be able to convince them either way because they're stuck in their ideas. So, I think with the approach of like I'm going to try to debunk it, but if I can't explain it, then ooh, that's interesting. I mean, hearing these other ones, I don't know what else there are, because I do think of I guess when I think of ghosts, I do think of like spirits that were like non-human entities, or I guess because even when I think of like a sprite or the pixie, like I still think of it as a living being. So I guess I kind of think of spirits as a non-living, or like sprites and
I mean, as a non-human.
no, non-living, just
Yeah.
non-living. Because aren't those when, and I don't know
All
what they look like.
spirits
I
are
don't even know what they
non-living.
are. What's that?
All spirits are non-living.
No, but that's what I think of spirits as something non-living. When I think of like
okay.
like
Just all general.
if I think of like a pixie or a sprite, I think of that as a living creature,
Oh, okay.
or like a leprechaun or gnomes. Like I think of those as living creatures. So I think of spirits as something that's non-living but still in existence. It's kind of weird when I say it out loud like that. But yeah, like somehow, yeah. What are the? And as we were talking about shadow people, I started thinking back about like The Conjuring, the mom, when she was like kind of time traveling in a sense, where she walked into her kitchen, but it wasn't her kitchen anymore because there was a
Right.
family there, and they're looking at her like, whoa, that's just. They basically were looking at each other like they were each other's spirits in this house.
Yes,
And I'm
that's cool.
And I'm now wondering, is that a shadow person? Is a shadow person standing there, not in front of me, but in another time standing in front of me? That's what and they're looking at me. Maybe they think I'm a shadow person.
Well, you are.
Not that
Seen
tan
it in
yet.
Stories. Oh.
See, now what's weird is, like, I remember the last shadow person that I saw, it was like when I saw them and we made connection, it was like, because anytime it seems like
Tell that
anybody's...
story, though. Tell that story.
Okay, so when I saw that shadow person, I walked it was at our parents' house.
Okay.
And I walked, so down this living room hallway. At the end of the hallway, there's rooms on each side. And I was in one of those rooms, and I was walking out of that room, going to go down the hallway into the living room. And as I walked out of the room and turned the light off and looked into the living room, right before I was about to walk into the hallway, I see the shadow person look at me and then shoot down the side of the couch to like hide. Like we saw each other, and then they shot down the side of the couch to hide. And I did everything I could to reenact what I just did to see if I could see the same shadow figure do the same thing, that maybe I was creating this. So I tried to reenact it over and over again, different ways. Tried waiting for cars to drive by because it was dark. So I tried to wait for cars to drive by to see if maybe they casted a car's headlights casted shadows. Nothing could recreate what I just saw. And I know what I saw, but I was just like, I just got to keep trying to see if I can recreate this. But knowing what I saw and seeing that, and now thinking back of how shadow people react when they do see you, because they do seem to like spook themselves and hide, right? So what
it's like Gizmo from Gremlins, bright light, bright light.
So what if in that situation, it is like almost like a time crossing time pass where they see you as a shadow person, you're seeing them as a shadow person, you both freak out.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm saying. So like if they see you as a shadow person and you see them as a shadow person, so like they sees me kind of come out of that room and go, what the hell, and go back in and try to recreate it
behind the couch.
And so and then maybe maybe it's in a different time, maybe in the future, maybe those are stairs going to a basement and they ran down some stairs right there. Who knows?
The shadow knows.
No, they don't, because I'm the shadow to them.
No, it's a comic book character, the Shadow.
Oh, see, you can't reference things I don't know.
It's what's his name? Alec Baldwin played him in that '90s movie.
Billy Zane.
The Shadow.
No,
Lamont Cranston.
Was it?
Alec Baldwin.
Oh.
Alec Baldwin.
No, I'm thinking the Phantom.
Yeah.
Same. Oh, jeez. I don't know these guys.
Phantoms are a type of spirit.
Oh, you're right.
Phantoms.
What about Banshees?
Banshees?
Were Banshees ever human?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't look into those.
I didn't either.
There's Onis and there's Jinn.
Yep.
There's a lot. There's a ton.
Yep. There's a whole mess of them.
There's like 90 bajillion.
We cracked the shadow people case.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
we solved that.
There's another type of haunting that I believe you've experienced before. And this one's not as common. I don't hear about it as much, but there was the mist.
Oh yes, and that I don't even know what kind of spirit that is, because that is a strange thing. Like it was a cloud form, that was not in any type of a creature whatsoever, and it seemed intelligent. Was what was weird, but it just stayed floating there, and it was like if you could imagine Slimer, but it wasn't green. But it was like more of a white, transparent, where it was like snow from the Channel 3 that you don't have, So it's kind of like that inside of it. But more transparent, more white. But the way it formed came out from the side of my bed and formed right in front of me like smoke would. And it just stayed there in that shape. And it was super crazy because like when I went down the side of my bed and climbed off my bed, it seemed to like turn and follow me. It didn't like move away towards me. It just kind of seemed to turn. And it didn't move from that spot. But as soon as I left my room to try to get somebody to come look at this, and finally when someone did, and we came back in my room, it was long gone.
Interesting.
Yeah, like I don't know how to explain that.
I wish you would have just left your damn room and came and looked at it.
Humidifier?
Huh?
Was it humidifier?
No.
Rotating?
But it was really, really strange. But yeah, I have no idea what kind of spirit that is.
If it is a spirit or just an anomaly of some sort.
Some type of a light anomaly. Yeah. I don't have any clue. And for science to try to explain that, like how? Like how would you explain what I just saw? I know no one else was experiencing carbon monoxide poisoning symptoms in that house. You know what I mean?
Good
Well,
point.
I've worked on a case before where they sent me video of something similar where just in front of their infrared camera, like their home security camera, you see like this mist, like it looks like steam coming up above it. And I tried to recreate it using like boiling water on the stove and filming it to see if it would be the same, recording someone's like humidifier or like air diffuser. And just the way the smoke was coming up in front of the camera, like I could not recreate it. I couldn't explain it. So I've seen it on video, something similar to what you've seen, and I honestly don't know what it is or what causes it, but it's a thing.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's spirit or it's got to be. Maybe those are some kind of elemental. Maybe it's a smoke elemental that we don't even know about.
It's possible.
It is possible.
Because elementals are a thing. It's an air elemental.
It's an airbender.
Yes.
We probably need to do an episode on elementals because I'm not very familiar with them. So we have to do an episode one day on that.
Well, there's 4 elements.
Right.
Or 5 actually, but 4. Yeah, we can do that.
Smoke's the 5th one now.
Spirit.
Poltergeist. That one interests me a lot.
Yeah, that was a great movie. The first one. The remake was
Never seen either one of them.
So poltergeists, they say, are not really even a spirit per se, but more of like a living person who's creating that shit show to happen.
Well, there's 2 types of poltergeist, and that's one of them. Poltergeist is loosely translated from German to mean noisy ghost.
Lazy ghost?
Noisy.
Oh, noisy.
Noisy. So when I talk about poltergeist activity, I like to reference the 2 movies, Poltergeist and Carrie. You have poltergeist is in the poltergeist type movie. That type of poltergeist is more or less like a very active spirit. That's why it's noisy ghost. They're the types that are going to move things around and cause a lot of ruckus, knock on doors and stuff like that. Sometimes they have malicious intent. A lot of times it's just, hey, I'm here. And then when you talk about like what you were talking about, I always reference the movie Carrie, where she can cause activity to happen just by thinking about it. And there's actually a story I think it's like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark 2. It could be the 3rd one, where it talks about that exact phenomenon, where it's usually teenage girls that experience this, but anyone can do it. It doesn't matter of age or gender. But if there's like certain things going on in the home, if there's a lot of stressors and stuff like that, you can unknowingly create your own sort of paranormal activity.
Do you think people have the ability to make things move?
On a subconscious level, I think so. I've actually seen an investigator subconsciously, he didn't even realize he was doing it. He was waving his hand over a K2 meter and causing it to go all the way up to the red without realizing he was doing it. It wasn't, once we pointed it out to him that he was doing it, he couldn't recreate it. So I think on a subconscious level, it's possible.
What do you think, Ghosty?
No, not moving things, just like energy, like being able to like feel energy and vibrations and stuff. Yes, but to actually use that to push something and move something, no. And I've seen there was an old show where this guy was going to give away money, like $1 million, to somebody that could actually do that.
Oh, uh-huh.
A lot of people tried to like to prove certain things to this guy, and nobody could do it. And
I think I've seen some of this guy's videos. He did it for like 30 some odd years.
yeah, he did it for a long, long time. He was inviting anybody that he could, and he was willing. He had the money to give to somebody, but he was constantly showing people that were like lying about it. Like they were like they were blowing on things to try to move it with their breath, or and anytime he took something out of the equation so they could not use their breath or use wind or something like that, then they would be like, oh, I can't do it now. I can't do it now. You ruined my whole thing.
There's actually a guy on TikTok that's doing something similar now. He's offering people like $1,000 to prove that they can do what they're saying they can do. And there's people that have sent him videos saying, look, I can do this. And he's debunked it. He's like, yeah, I can do it too. He's not showing how he's doing it or how they're doing it. He's not revealing their secrets, but he is showing that it's not like it's something that can be easily recreated.
So he's having people send him videos of what they can do, and he's got to be able to recreate it in order to not pay them.
Pretty much. And he's even offered to like have people. He's like, come be on my live stream, do it live in front of people, not just like recorded. And so far, he hasn't found anyone that can actually back up their claims. But like I said, I think people can on a subconscious level, like unintentionally, not trying to. Because I've talked to, we had Audra on the show when she did your spirit guide reading. I've talked to her before where she was there was some stressors and stuff going on in her life, and she came home once and walked into the living room, and I believe it was unintentional. She didn't realize she was doing it, but I believe she caused the chandelier to start shaking. So I believe, this is my personal belief, and you guys can choose to believe it or not. I think on a subconscious level, our subconscious mind can cause things to move.
That's pretty interesting. I've had a weird experience. Goes back to our parents' house again. I was in the dining area, and I was sitting in a chair. And from the kitchen to the dining area is like 2 steps. And on one of it's basically the floor of the dining, then a step, and then the floor of the kitchen. So kind of like 1 step, really. And on the step was a 2-liter of Sprite, actually. Going back to that. Call back.
You found a Sprite.
And so there's a 2-liter Sprite, and I'm sitting in a chair sideways, so I'm sitting on at the side of the chair, so my left arm is like on the back of the chair, because like I said, I'm sitting sideways, and my head is pushed up against my face, and I think I was kind of like rubbing my face, kind of like, I think just kind of rubbing the side of my face, also kind of along my eye, and that's against my left eye, so my right eye can see fine, but I'm rubbing the side of my face. I don't know why, and as I'm doing that, I can see like the Sprite bottle turning, and I don't think much about it because I can see the logo, and I'm seeing it from the side at a side angle, and as I'm rubbing my face, it's like turning, so I can start seeing the full logo. I don't think much about it because I'm rubbing my face, rubbing my eye, and then I put my hand down, and now the full logo is facing me, and I'm like, wow, that was weird because it looked like it was turning, like the bottle was turning, but I didn't put much behind it because. Again, like I'm rubbing my eye. You know when you rub your eye, like just things get a little distorted. But then the logo was facing me. And I just was like, huh, that's really, really weird. When the logo was kind of like I had a view of like the side of the logo, the Sprite logo. Don't know how to explain that, but it was just like a really weird situation.
You were walking in a circle around the bottle as you're rubbing your eye.
No, I was sitting in the chair.
You were rubbing carbon monoxide in your eye.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
In my left eye. So yeah, that happened long time ago.
Well, the rubbing your eye, that was the switch that caused the bottle to turn. See, that's like, yeah.
I don't know.
You're a robot. You're an alien.
Maybe. But
moving things with your mind.
Yeah. You thought only Luke Skywalker could do it. But guess what?
You can't.
They got powers.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain that. It was really weird when I stopped rubbing my eye. I'm like, that bottle is kind of facing different. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know.
Or while you're rubbing your eye, you're moving your vision along with that.
You're moving.
Moving my vision.
Yeah, your whole vision was getting moved with your hands.
I don't know.
You were turning the world.
Yep. You were
Your eyeball.
You're pulling your skin back, and you were seeing the other side of the bottle.
Yeah. It was optical illusion.
Yeah, well, it was weird though. I
You were
thought that
looking
was
in a mirror.
really weird.
But yeah, that was ghosts.
Well, I mean, go back to Poltergeist. Noisy ghost.
Yeah, very.
So the movie Poltergeist, that was based off of because they were on
Steroids.
Native American
Steroids.
grounds, right? Is that what it was? Poltergeist movie?
What it was based on, or what was in the movie?
No, in the movie they were on old burial
It was an old
grounds,
cemetery that
and
was
they
moved.
just built on top of it.
They moved the headstones. But
So there was
is
is that based off a true story then? That Poltergeist movie?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but there's a curse associated with the Poltergeist movie.
I've heard.
And we can talk about that on another
Aren't
episode.
all scary movies based on true stories?
Like Freddy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't there really a Friday the 13th?
Actually.
And isn't there really a Halloween?
We can talk about this on another episode too, but there was, I had a list before of 9 movies, horror films that were loosely based on actual events. Child's Play being one of them.
Child's Play was loosely based on a...
The keyword is loosely.
Yeah.
Loosely.
Yeah.
So Robert the Doll is what Child's Play is
do
based on.
remember hearing about this.
There was a phenomenon in, I believe it was in Taiwan, where there was reports of people that like were dying in their sleep and they couldn't explain it. And there was one kid that refused to sleep, and then he was like hiding a coffee pot in his closet, and his family finally got him to go to sleep. And when he did, he never woke up. That was I don't have the whole article here. I'm just kind of going off of memory, but that was the basis for Nightmare on Elm Street.
I see.
So there is some like actual events for some of these horror movies, like it's Child's Play and Nightmare on Elm Street. Obviously, The Exorcist and the Conjuring movies, loosely based on actual events.
Okay, I could see how like somebody can just hear like a news story or some random story article that they read, and then let their creative fluids flow, and then think of all the crazy things that. Yeah, I could see.
Yeah,
that.
so Freddy Krueger, I don't know that necessarily, but the dying in your sleep, unexplainably, that was based on something that actually happened.
And then somebody's creative juices started going.
That one, Wes Craven.
Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
I think the poltergeist type of thing would be really scary. Going back to that, we had that listener submitted voice message that came in one time, and she was telling a story how she took a shower, came out of the shower, and then all of her cupboards were open. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Like that would freak me the hell out.
Well, we've got some like emails and stuff that we need to share on one of these episodes. We had more from Josie that we could share, and then there was I can't remember the name. Someone on Instagram that was messaging, I believe, Ghosty some stories that needs to be shared at some point.
Yes.
Different types of spirits.
I mean, yeah, Poltergeist. Seeing anything that would happen scared the shit out of me as a kid. My stereo turning on would scare the hell out of me. I remember. This thing would happen every single morning for a small amount of time, where when you would go to school, because you had just started middle school, I was still in elementary. Our parents would go to work, so there was like 20 minutes when I'm home by myself in the morning, and that chandelier above the stairs that was made out of the inside of shells would start vibrating, and it would just be shaking. And that never happened in all the years living there, and all of a sudden it just what's only happened when everybody was gone.
Loudly or just faintly?
It would vibrate. The whole thing was shaking. It's shaking, not just like, is that moving? Is it not? No, it's shaking, making noise. The whole thing is, and I would leave for school early because it was not right. That ain't right. And then those shows that were on at the time, we only had sightings and unsolved mysteries.
Sure.
And so I remember some paranormal investigator had talked about, if you're having things going on, you can yell at it and make it stop. Tell them to stop and leave you alone. So I did that one morning, and it did stop and left me alone. And I still freaked out because it did it on command. First time ever, like, asking a spirit to do something, and it does it on command. Like, that shit was still scary. Just as scary as when it started shaking.
Well, I mean, think about it now, 20 years later.
Way more. This is 30 years later.
What would you think about that now? Like,
now?
What do you think that was? What do you think was happening? If you were to kind of give just like your best educated guess.
The best thing that I could think of at the time was that I was open to seeing and experiencing spirits at the time, and they were trying to come and show themselves to me for whatever reason they wanted.
That's what you were thinking at the time?
No, at the time, I was just like, this house is haunted. I got to get the hell out of here.
Okay.
At the time, I was freaking out. I was just like, and then I was getting pissed because nobody else in this house was having experiences.
Way to support them.
Like, I was
Way
getting
to be the protective older brother.
I was getting either made fun of or told that it's not happening. And I'm like, I'm having it happen to me, and you're telling me it's not happening. Sure shit's happening.
Yeah.
You were just imagining.
Right. It's just all in my imagination.
You were a child.
And I remember my imagination left big imprints.
It was just running wild. None of it was real.
So the having that go on, like, I mean, shit's just scary as shit. So, I forgot what we were saying, but yeah, it was scary.
I'm just saying, like, knowing what you know now, what do you think that was, looking back?
Yeah, that's what I think it was. It was that I was getting visited by spirits, not necessarily haunting the house, because nobody else was experiencing anything. And what was making it seemed even crazier was that it was happening in the daytime too. Like usually you'd think in the nighttime that's when things get spooky and
That's because it's Hollywood tells you.
no, not really, because in that house there was certain areas of that house where I knew there was things there, and I didn't know how to explain it, but I knew there was shit there, and they were staring at me all the time.
Can we go to that house?
Yes.
Your parents still live there?
They still live there,
I go
but
there all
the
the time.
spirits, they're not necessarily there. So like when I go back there now, I don't feel that there's things are there now. I'm not living there anymore. I think they were there to like come try to talk to me or whatever, but when I go there now, those things aren't there. One was still hanging out there after I had moved out, because I do remember walking through it. And this was weird. I don't know how to explain this thing. This was like after I had moved out, and brother, you were staying upstairs in that one bedroom upstairs, and I remember I had came over
The room that you came out of when you saw the
yes,
shadow
that
person.
same one that I walked out of. But in that hallway, in that living room hallway, right where the entrance to the kitchen is, there always felt like something was right there. And then, like, whenever I would come home at night and it was dark, and I'd come into the kitchen door and come down the stairs to my bedroom, and I would see into the living room at the entrance of that hallway, and I could always feel something was standing there staring at me. Anyways, fast forward, I had already moved out, and you were in that room, and I remember being in your room for something, and I walked out to go to the kitchen, but when I was walking down that hallway, as I was walking, I knew that thing was standing there, and I was like, well, I'm just going to keep walking. Like, I felt it was weird in my head. Like, I knew it was there, but I'm just going to keep walking and pretend it's not. And as I walked through it, it was like thick air, and I felt like I had to actually push to get through it. And I just brushed it off like it didn't happen, and I just continued doing what I was doing, and just tried to ignore that just happened. But it seemed like soon after that thing wasn't there anymore either. But yeah, when I go back there, it doesn't seem like there's anything there or that it's even haunted. It was just during this time of my life from, I would say, 10 to 13, and I was having things happen to me on a regular basis. It was just, yeah, it was hard to explain. Really, really hard to explain all this shit, especially at that age. And yeah, ghost, man.
Ghost man.
They're out there.
do.
Well, if people here feel like they have something in their house and they don't know what to do and they're kind of scared, you can reach out to us or someone else, and just know there's a lot of things out there, or a lot of people out there that are willing to help and are open to the ideas that something possibly could be in your home and would want to help you get rid of it if that's what you want. And we're one of those. We're those people. So you can reach out to us too.
When it comes to these guys that say they'll explain things with science, right? The thing that they wouldn't be able to explain are, okay, when I saw some things that I saw, they can't recreate these. So there's no way to really explain that besides going, well, maybe next time you gotta try to record it,
Yeah.
Or like, okay, if I'm upstairs, if I'm the only one in the house and I'm upstairs and my room's downstairs, and all of a sudden I hear my stereo turn on, and then I look down the stairs. As I look down the stairs, my light switch turns on. They're just going to say, oh, faulty electrical equipment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Weird that it pinpoints just to my room, strange.
I got video of a chandelier shaking on its own, moving on its own, with no explanation.
There's a lot of inanimate objects that have been caught on tape moving.
And
And
I have video of, at Brandy's house, her fan turning itself on and off.
right. And I guess it would be a situation where you would have to, they would have to show up there and have to see it in person to happen. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah,
one of those
I know.
things that's like, okay, now we're going to have to, you're only going to be here for one day only, and from this time to this time, I've been in this place for how many years, and it's only happened, once ever. And so now I'm trying to get you to come watch this event happen, and the likelihood of that happening during the 5-hour span they're going to be there compared to the years you've been there, it's not going to happen for them.
Let's go.
I've showed people that video of the fan, and they're like, well, how do I know you weren't just off camera with a remote control? And I'm like, it's not a remote control fan. That's how. But it's one of those where like, well, unless I was there, I'm not going to believe it. I'm like, okay.
Right.
Like, I don't think it's our job as investigators to try to prove the existence of ghosts. We're just sharing our experiences.
Right. I mean, at this point, it's like, I mean, a lot of people already believe. A lot of people have had experiences, and it's, to me, it's more of like, this is fun to actually be able to communicate with spirits. And I think with the technology that's been coming out lately, with the way we can communicate with spirits, I would like to see what happens in the future.
Well, the best trick is the shaving a haircut. Can't go wrong with that. Good old shaving a haircut.
Yeah, it worked.
Let me ask you guys this. I mean, I shared a video with you guys with a friend of mine on Facebook. He's posted before that he's experienced some type of paranormal, things in his house throughout his life as well. And so he recently posted a video. So he's in his bathroom. He's kind of playing on his phone, and he sees his toilet paper kind of fidget. So he's like, "What the heck's going on?" So he's looking at the toilet paper. Luckily, he had his phone in his hand because he was playing on the phone while he was on the toilet, like most of us do. But then he switched his camera on and recorded that his toilet paper just started unraveling by itself. So it was probably maybe halfway through the roll, and it just starts unrolling. Yes. And I've never seen my toilet paper even fidget.
I've had that where in one of my bathrooms where not really... doesn't matter the bathroom, just the way that the damn toilet paper holder holds the roll, and then the roll itself. I've had it where I've done something or whatever, and it does unroll, and then as it starts dropping and the gravity starts feeding the roll, it gets faster and faster and faster.
Gravity. Sir Isaac Newton taught us about that. But was a spider using it as like one of those hamster wheels?
A spider using it? Oh, no.
But,
yeah, as it was trying to run up the toilet paper, it was... unraveling it.
But I mean, something could have caused it to move. That we don't know where his air vents are.
He says there's no air vents down there
in his bathroom.
Or I can't remember what he said. He did look into it. I can't remember the whole comment that he wrote on there, but he did make a statement. He did check on something, or didn't have a vent, something like that.
And at the same time,
like one of my bathrooms, it doesn't have an air vent in there. There's no air vents in one of my bathrooms.
Poop in that bathroom.
Well, there's you have to turn the switch on, and it it ventilates outwards.
Well, there's that. Yeah, there's those.
There's no like air conditioning or heater vent in one of my bathrooms.
Oh, okay.
So we've seen this video, and in my personal opinion, there was no spirit energy.
Okay.
In that video that I could tell.
What did you think, Ghosty, when you watched it?
I thought it like weird why this started to move in the first place, but hard to see all the different factors going on there. But when it was unraveling, when it started going, like I had seen that same thing happen in my bathroom multiple times already.
I believe that was my response in the group chat. Was gravity.
But like, I mean, I've had different bathrooms where depending on the toilet paper holder, where I've never seen it happen in other bathrooms, but only in one bathroom that I have will I see that happen. So I know it's maybe just the way that toilet paper roll holder sits.
Yeah, where he's never had a situation like that before, and he just said it just started fidgeting. I can't remember exactly the words he's used, but it just started moving slightly by itself, and he kind of looked at it. And again, because he's had a lot of experiences throughout his life, he just was like, is this another thing? And that's when he stepped up and started recording.
The thing is with paranormal video, I mean, it's just very convenient that he was in the right place at the right time with the camera.
On the toilet with his phone?
Yep.
That seems kind of logical to me, though.
But that it's going to just... I mean, you look at a lot of these videos that are posted online, and just... there's so many people that just happen to be recording when activity happens.
I'll tell you what, like, this is a personal friend of mine, so I know him, and I've seen him post things, not post any evidence, but just make comments. Guess what happened to me today? And he would make a generalization comment of something that was
I'm not saying he
paranormal.
Doesn't have activity happening. Just in my opinion, from what I've seen, without actually being in his house, to me that was not paranormal.
Okay. Fair enough.
But I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I just, from what I can tell, from my opinion, it wasn't paranormal.
Because when I first saw it too, I thought the same thing. I'm like, it's just gravity. But then I thought, wait, I've never seen a half roll of toilet paper just all of a sudden just unwind itself randomly. So then, as I started thinking about, it, I'm like, it could be. That's why I kind of shared the video with you guys. I'm like, I guess it's possible. And
Piece
then
of
also because
tape,
I've
some
known
fishing line.
I don't see that happening either.
But also, like, what kind of flooring does he have
yeah.
in there? Like, how sturdy are the floorboards? Like, does gravity or like somebody walking deep press on the ground and makes things shift a little bit? Like if he's rocking back and forth on the shitter.
I mean, I have the feeling he's used this bathroom before.
He knows how to poop.
No.
And he's never had this happen before. Is my impression. So that's why, when I first saw it, like I said, I thought, yeah, just gravity. But then I started piecing things together, and I just started remembering, like, what things I just started remembering of things he's posted in the past. Like, okay, I remember him posting about paranormal things that's happened to him, and his mom too, him and his mom. So as I kind of piece things together, I'm like, that's not his personality. His personality is not to just create fake paranormal stuff.
I don't know him, so I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. That's why as I piece things together, it just started seeming more and more unusual. That okay, this actually maybe could be something. Could be.
He's trying to get those 1 million followers on the TikTok.
No,
The Tickety Talks.
he's not on TikTok.
See-
I don't know if he is. I'm not.
And back, I would have loved to have been able to record some of the things that I witnessed when I was a kid, but there was no
Unfortunately, back then we didn't carry cameras around in our pockets
Yeah.
because they were way too big. They fit on your shoulder.
Who knows if you would have even remembered to do it anyway?
For a couple things I would have been like when that mist came out and that was like that cloud sitting there. I had plenty of time to record that. There was times
Remember,
when
were you thinking like, I wish I had a camera next to me right now? Like, were you thinking that?
well, no, because that wasn't a thing back then. That
No,
wasn't
but
even
cameras were like. I mean,
they weren't
a
portable.
camera-
They weren't accessible to anybody. I mean, yeah, anybody. I wish I could have recorded that in some
I'm
kind
not
of
saying
way, but
record, but even that camera, you had cameras. You had like
not at that age.
photo cameras. No?
Not at
Okay.
that age.
Maybe not.
And I think the only thing like we had access to like the 35 millimeter disposables and stuff. Like we didn't have any just like sitting around that we could have easily grabbed or anything at that age. But had I had a phone, knowing I had a phone with a camera on it at my age now, and things happening like that and having the time to react, yeah, I would definitely pull it out and start recording and be like, what the hell is this?
Well, the reason why I
Snapchat,
question
oh,
it,
shit.
because I listen to a lot of podcasts, watch a lot of shows, and a lot of people say, you watch these people and you think, why don't you pull out your camera? But then they say when things do happen, you're like, yeah, it's the last thing on your mind, just pulling out your camera.
But there's so many videos of people online that are just like, I've got shit going on. Let me pull out my camera. I mean, it's just the odds of actually getting paranormal activity on film are not very great.
Usually the ones that
opinion.
people are recording in their homes that are legit are like the still cameras that are just not on their phone. It's cameras that are mounted and recording, security cameras or the sort, or people will set one up because things are happening in their house. There were some cool ones of someone's kitchen where things are getting tossed all over the place inside the kitchen in all sorts of directions. Because
Yeah.
usually, when
Fake.
you try to see like a fake video, it's
That's
like
fake.
it's things all going in the same direction. All things are either moving or going to and from the same direction right off of camera. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But when things are like there's something sitting on the table and it flips upward and over, like looks like somebody picked it up and tossed it. It's pretty cool. I mean, I can see how that could be recreated on certain levels, but there was multiple things happening. That's not the only thing happening. There's multiple things moving towards where there's an inanimate object sitting somewhere, moving away from the camera, towards like a wall or whatever, to where nobody could be there pulling it.
I've actually edited some home video that people have sent me on a case that we worked on several years ago. And they had one of the security cameras that was pointed at the front door was probably about 12 to 14 feet in the air, mounted on the ceiling. And there's no way to get to this camera without a ladder. And there was at one point when they were not home, the camera started turning and then just pointed itself up at the ceiling. And then again, while the team was actually there investigating, the camera, I believe it was in the bedroom, did the same thing. It just pointed straight up at the ceiling. I can show you guys that video afterwards. But
It's debunked cold wires. The cold wires retract and turns cameras upwards.
yes.
Science.
Science. It was gravity.
Gravity and cold wires.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Well, is there any other ghost stuff you guys want to
Orbs.
talk about? Oh,
Do you
orbs.
think orbs? What do you think about orbs?
Okay.
Are they spirit energy or are they dust? Are they bugs? What do you think about orbs?
I think the only time I give orbs any type of consideration is if you're seeing him with your bare ass eyes.
Which
Have
I
you
have
seen?
twice.
Yeah.
So that's something we've all experienced. I've
So-
seen it twice as well.
So those I feel are more of like energy light anomalies, where like an energy is moving, and as it's moving, it's creating some type of light with its energy. And I think in order for it to actually be somewhat of legitimacy to it, yeah, you got to see it with your eyes more than likely. The pictures and videos with orbs, I hate them. I don't want to pay them any kind of mind, unless it's more of like an anomaly doing something out of the ordinary or moving in a way that is not going, definitely does not stand out as like a bug or water molecule or dust or something like that.
Well, I've seen on video that we've had set up before, like watching a live stream of an investigation we were doing. You're able to see like the dust in the room and the way the air was circulating. And then when this one like light anomaly appears like right in the middle of the screen and starts moving in different directions than everything else, to me that was actual orb or spirit energy, because we got the dust going like counterclockwise, and this orb just randomly appears. This light anomaly randomly appears like right in the middle of the screen, and it was brighter than everything else, and it like started going up and in the opposite, like in a clockwise direction instead of counterclockwise, because you can see the airflow. I've seen stuff like that, and that to me that's more legit than a lot of what you see. Where most of these videos is dust or bugs specifically are very reflective when it comes to infrared. The like the wings on flies, for example, they're translucent, and when the infrared hits it up, it looks like a big ball of light.
The worst, people need to stop it with the
Water
orbs.
molecules, too.
No, when they have like dust or a bug, and it's clear that it's a dust or a bug, and the way it's moving is very obvious that it's not spirit, and they post it on these Facebook pages like, "Oh my God, look what I just found! And look at this orb."
And if you look closer, you can see a face inside.
Like, it looks just like my cousin Billy, who passed away 2 weeks earlier. And then they post a picture of the Billy, and then they post a picture of the orb, and
I don't see it.
It looks like an ink blot. It's
I don't
just
see anything.
there's nothing there. Like, can't you see the eyes and the cheekbones? And no, I don't. You know why? Because that's a piece of dust.
Or when people post pictures of like a cemetery or Gettysburg, and there's just all these, orbs
There's
everywhere.
at least 2,000
Yeah.
orbs in
It's
this
like,
video.
no, that's water molecules.
That's a very humid place you're standing in.
Because I've done it before, where I took pictures in cemeteries, I saw the same thing, took another picture, didn't see anything. So I know they didn't settle down in between pictures.
Right.
And I've seen those same orbs everywhere in a nightclub. So, take a picture of all your friends, popping bottles, and you see all these orbs everywhere. Nope, it's because there's a smoke machine, and it causes these water molecules. This is not a haunted nightclub. This is just this is just dust and water molecules.
Why you gotta be like that?
Because I like to tell the truth,
Okay.
the hard truth.
Yeah.
I've had people send me video and pictures of orbs, quote unquote orbs, and when I've told them my opinion, and again, it's just my opinion. I'm not the end all be all to things, but I just find it interesting how people get offended and start like chewing you out and telling
It's
you
my
how
grandmother.
you're wrong. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not saying the same thing you are. I don't believe it's what you think it is. But like people get all upset and offended by it, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm getting pre-offended. You won't believe this toilet paper story.
Gravity.
No, yeah, it's true. I mean, I don't put much validity behind orbs. I've taken a lot of pictures, seen orbs in it. Don't think much about them at all until I saw them with my own bare ass eyes, and then I was like, oh, that was weird. I just lit up and flew up into the ceiling. And then when Brandy also sees the video and goes, yep, that's the spirit. I'm like, all right.
All right.
Any other spirits? Any other ghosts?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure there's more, but
Yeah. I think we covered the basis for us American ghosts.
yep. Intelligent haunting, poltergeist,
Shadow folk.
shadow people, residual hauntings, and demons.
And dust.
And dust. Demon dust.
Demon dust.
Let's dust these demons.
Oh my god, I want to start calling that now when people post orbs. I'm like, oh, that's demon dust.
Demon dust.
Well, all right, let's call that an episode, guys.
All right.
All right, go see don't play that.
Peace out, butterflies.
Ooh. This is the EVP Podcast.